For the last year I've been doing an experiment to see how much money I can save by growing food in my front garden. The last year has taught me some very important lessons. The most important being that when you're growing in a small space, it's vital to prioritise quick turnaround crops. That's crops that don't take too long from the point that you plant them to the point you eat them. And in this video I'm going to be sharing with you 5 of the best quick turnaround crops that I have discovered during the last 12 months in my front garden. And stick around for the end of the video because I'm also going to be sharing with you one that absolutely didn't work in my growing space. It's important to add a quick disclaimer. All of the crops that I'm going to talk about in this video grew well in the situation of my front garden. In my local conditions, I'm growing in the UK, and all the advice that I give is from a UK-centric point of view. And specifically to this garden, 3 out of the 5 beds are quite heavily shaded for much of the day, with a couple of the beds getting good sunshine in the morning. Just keep that in mind as I'm going through this video. First quick turnaround crop that I want to share with you is salad burnet. You might not have heard of this variety. It's been fairly unpopular since the medieval times. Back then it was regarded as a peasant's herb, but it really was productive for me this year. The key to this plant is that it's very low maintenance. You plant it, it does its thing, it spreads slowly, it grows quite well in the shade or in a more sunny position, and I was cropping it so much. Honestly, I was cropping this on a weekly basis to put into my family salads. I absolutely love the flavour. It's a mild cucumber flavour, and you'll notice that the young plants are so easy to divide as well. You can see here I'm cutting back these varieties so brutally, without a care in the world really, just hacking it back to the base level and then pulling apart the plants, increasing my stock of plants you can give to friends or you can plant on and harvest more and more. Salad burnet is such a fantastic quick turnaround variety. I absolutely love it. I love food, and it's really important to point out that if you're growing crops to save yourself money, quick turnaround crops, you need to use them. They need to be things that you can add to delicious pasta dishes. They need to be varieties that are quick turnaround, low maintenance, easy to grow, that's going to provide you with loads of flavour, but most importantly, you need to use them. There's no point growing things if you're not going to use them all that much. So this list concentrates on varieties that I use a lot, and I can't get enough Wild Rocket in my life. This is a variety that's so easy to grow. You can sow it easily into seed trays or directly into the ground later into the season. Sow them into these modules, get them going on the windowsill. This is a really easy to grow variety. Just press down the soil in the modules as you can see me doing here, so the seeds are in intimate contact with the soil. That's just going to help the germination rate. Sow the seeds just under the surface of the soil, very lightly. You can see me here just sowing a few seeds per cell. That'll be more than enough, and then just cover them over. Stick them on the windowsill, and before you know it, you will have so much delicious peppery leaves. Just looking at that foliage makes me feel hungry, makes me crave a delicious summer salad. So Wild Rocket has to be one of the best quick turnaround crops that you're going to be harvesting over a long period of time. That's another really important point. These crops need to be around for a long time, not just a good time. The third and fourth varieties on this list are kind of linked together. I'm cheating a little bit. The thing is, when you're growing in a small space, space is limited, and it's really, really important to utilise every single bit of space that you have within your growing space, whether it's big or small. Vertically growing varieties of beans were a game changer for me. So the third and fourth variety are both broad beans and French beans. Broad beans I sowed quite early on in the season. They're quite hardy. I sowed them very early on in the spring. You actually just needed to prop the broad beans up with a little bit of string, propped up by trellis, and very, very low maintenance varieties that cropped absolutely prolifically. Look how much these plants grew in just a couple of months. And it got to the stage that I was harvesting handfuls and handfuls off around 10 plants every single day. We added so many of these beautiful ingredients to our cooking during the summer months, and I came to really, really love broad beans, that fresh, crisp spring flavour. Look how much crop is there. Isn't nature absolutely amazing? And the key with these quick turnaround crops is that you use them as much as you can. Then when the plants are finished, you get rid of them and you plant something else. Which brings me on to the next variety, which is the beautiful spinach. Have you noticed that there's nothing exotic on this list? It's just varieties that I love to use, and myself and my wife, we eat so much spinach. We put it into so many dishes to bulk out the dish. It's really good for you in terms of health. I love to grow spinach because it fills a gap in the calendar. It grows quickly, it grows prolifically. Harvesting spinach became a daily routine. I love this time lapse because it shows me just piling a plate high, ready to freeze ahead of the winter. Spinach fills a gap too. It's a great early cool season crop. Perfect for sowing directly in the early spring or sowing into modules and then transplanting outside. It's important to be honest, and not everything grew as well as spinach. I imagine that growing sweet peppers in my front garden would be like the video you can see right now, a vast field of sweet peppers that I use so much of. I said earlier in the video that it's important to grow things that you use a lot. And we use so many peppers, so I thought growing peppers in my front garden was a no-brainer. To grow sweet peppers outside, you need a really warm summer here in the UK, and you need a really sunny position. My front garden was neither. And I was really proud of these pepper plants, but sadly they didn't give me much of a yield. Who knows? Maybe I need a greenhouse in my front garden. What do you think? What would my neighbours think? Never mind. We learned for next year, and I think they look great while they were growing. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that you grow these quick turnaround crops. You enjoy them, and you save yourself loads of money and have a load of fun taking back control and growing a little bit of food.